The opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the host or the producers. Welcome back to UCR, Universal Connection Radio. I'm your host, Roxanne Sartori, and today's show is just bursting with energy, the energy of synchronicity. Because it is the 11th show for UCR, it is the 11th of February, and it's being recorded at 11 a.m. The universe is at all times in tune with us, but it's not always the case with us and the universe. When we see occurrences like 11-11-11, it's a reminder, a nexus for us, a connection, a linking. When we view the world in black and white, we place limitations not only on ourselves, but on the world in general, each other. There's a spectacular spectacle of vibrancy, of colorful experiences, just waiting to be unveiled. Life is beautiful. We're being enticed to go beyond what we think we know and what we truly know. This is our collective cosmic subconscious. Today's subject is also not just black and white. It's not your typical take on what is predicted or what you've been taught, but it's evidence. It's right in front of us. We see it, we feel it, and this is the apocalypse. Wow. The awakening, the unveiling, the disclosure. I know you feel it. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I decided to invite Todd, Medina, to talk about this with me. Now, Todd is a writer, a speaker, an artist, a spiritual activist, and a blogger. He formed Soulogy, and he also has SoulogyOneStudios, and these are all-inclusive spiritual organizations, creative, intuitive, socially conscious centers of expression for artists and higher vibrations and frequencies of the universe. I'm delighted to have Todd with us today, and let's talk about this. Hey, Todd, welcome to the show.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me on. I just want to say that was an excellent commentary. That would be a great post, what you had to say. That was incredible, and my highest compliments.
Well, thank you.
I hope I can live up to this.
Oh, I'm sure you can. I have no doubt you can. I'm delighted to have you here, Todd. You and I have been communicating for quite a while, and it seems that there are a lot of synchronicities between us.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's been interesting to see UCR as it's coming out. It looks like it's going to be, something that's going to be very interesting and vital. I'm attracted to it.
When we connect universally, we are so powerful because that's what we are. We're universally connected, and when we recognize this, it's like boom, as you often say, boom.
That's right. Yeah, it's like the more power you give it, the more powerful you become.
Yes. It's the energies.
Yeah.
You attract what you are.
That's right.
What we all are is one. So we pull together and we get our actions the right way, our thoughts the right way, our feelings, and we get our world the right way. And what better way to do that than to pull together?
Yeah, and it takes all the thinking out of it, because it's just it's a decision. It's a thought decision at the thought level of thought. That's all it is.
You're right. That's exactly what it is.
You either empower yourself or you empower the world. And if you empower the world, you can't complain about what's going on because we all have a hand in it.
Well, isn't that the truth? We are the world.
Yeah.
We are responsible for what's happening around the world. A lot of people don't never mind take responsibility for what's happening in the world, but themselves in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, I write about it sometimes, and I say it really doesn't matter, because there's all these theories, there's all these ancient histories that are coming out, and it's at the point now where we don't really need to discuss all this stuff anymore. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we got here. It matters why we got here.
That's true.
And where we're at, where we're going. It doesn't matter if there's bloodline royalty, and there's Nazis, or it doesn't matter.
No, of course it doesn't. It's all in the past, and
that's right.
What matters is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's right.
And how we're doing it.
And for some reason, we it's almost like there's, I don't want to say two worlds, but there's certainly two perceptions. One is, clearly feeding the world, feeding what's going on, not feeding yourself, not empowering yourself. When you empower yourself, you begin to see the world differently. Your power grows, and literally the energy around you changes. And things like this, connections like this, I've seen it happen in my household, where there's been a lot of traumatic events over the last 2 or 3 years. So it's an energy, just like you said. We're all connected.
We are all connected, and sometimes we recognize it, and sometimes we just don't. And we often talk about our governments and the people that are not doing what we feel they should be doing for the betterment of the world and for, us. And the thing about it is, you and I have talked about this, Todd. We need that darkness. What is it you call it? The divine darkness?
The holy darkness.
Holy darkness. We need that in order to know the difference.
Yeah. I mean, and that's at a subconscious level, if you want to call it that, or spiritual level, and it's also at the physical mind level. And I think that's where we're at. I think that the universe is the planets are aligning, so to speak, and the energy is there that the physical and the spiritual are beginning to catch, or the physical mind's catching up with the spiritual mind. Yeah.
Well, this I think is what the apocalypse WoW is.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. I get what you're saying, because it's not the gloom and doom. The WoW is, oh my God, I am divine.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And there's, we can go back into the Bible. And in the Bible, oh my God, the apocalypse is horrific. It's so frightening. The 4 horsemen. And we have, what is it? War, famine, pestilence, and death.
Yeah.
Now, how about we turn that around?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the opposite of war?
Peace.
What's the opposite of pestilence? Health and prosperity.
Yeah.
And the opulence. Yeah, okay, throw opulence on the opposite of pestilence. The opposite of, what is the other one? I always end up.
Is it war,
pestilence, famine.
Famine.
It's feast.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, of course, the last one is death.
That's right.
What's the opposite of death? We're at the point where we know, spiritually, we don't die. We transmute.
That's right. And that's the biggest deception ever played, because they never came out, the world never came out and said there is death, so to speak, that you're not divine. But it's almost like, subliminal, that, they fed us all this stuff, and it's like, it just made us feel smaller and smaller, just dividing us up into little categories, and the natives are eating each other. Well, there's something, whether it's dark or whatever in the universe is mysterious, beautiful madness, is the plan is the fact is it's going on, and people are waking up. People are waking up, and I think it's important to talk about the social issues in a spiritually active way, because behind the lies is the truth.
Always. Always. And that's the thing, Todd. What, in your opinion, and I know that you've spoken about this quite a few times, how do we wake up? How do we become active members of the world and the universe I'm not going to call it a battle, because we know we've won already.
Mm-hmm.
But more so in the wave, the frequency of being and becoming who we really are. How do we do that?
That's a good question. I've always tried to keep things real simple. And
best way.
Yeah, and to me, and I've learned, because I used to come out real hard against things that have been sold to us, like 9/11, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you begin to realize that you're feeding that energy. It's taking your energy away. There's a way to address it and put out light, basically. And there's all different ways we can put out light in our lives. But I believe that we're the center of the universe. We are the center of the universe, from right where we stand. And if you can do nothing else, shed some light, and whatever it takes to do that. Do something like you were talking about. What's the opposite of this? Well, happy. What's the opposite of this? Peace, love, humor. Shine your light. I really believe that is the free energy that Tesla was looking for. I think it's us. We run forever, and it's just a matter of embracing that, not just knowing that and acknowledging that, but embracing that. So I don't know, just to keep it simple, I would say, when you shine light, you don't give darkness an opportunity. You just shroud it. So you're not even looking at it. If you go and engage the darkness, and like you said, you make it a battle, then it just grows.
I agree with that. Definitely. I've felt that for a long, long time. I don't watch television. I don't buy the papers. I don't listen to the news. I will not give it any energy.
Yeah.
I get little bits and pieces of it, and that's enough. That is enough for me. It's not that I'm ignorant. I know what's going on out there. I don't need to read about it in the paper.
That's right.
Or watch it on the news. But what's more important to me is what's going on in the good sense. The good news. Tell me the good news. Tell me about how we're awakening, how people are coming together to help one another.
That's right.
That kind of stuff. That's what's important.
Yeah.
And that's what this apocalypse WoW is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's going to be, I think there's going to be a lot of convergence of the spiritual, what we can't see, and the physical, and also, in a climatic way, in the weather, things like that. I think it's like those two perceptions are going to play together and merge together. So we might, if you're watching one side of it, you might see some crazy stuff and get sucked into it, all that gloom and doom. Or the other side, we know what it is. It's real. And it's all part of this beautiful plan. It's all part of, we're protected. We are peace. We are all those things, we just have to wake up to it.
You just said it. The war, the pestilence, the famine, that's the illusion.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what is being unveiled as the illusion now. When we awaken, we see that. We know that.
And I think part of what's happening is the universe, in all its frequencies and vibrations, is obviously there's energy coming to the earth. There's a lot of people talking about it. And part of, I think, this whole ascension theory, or whatever you call it, is that it's not going to give us a choice. In other words, we should be prepared for anything. And really, I always say, a soul doesn't survive because a soul doesn't die.
That's right.
And so anything could happen. And I make jokes about it on a video and say, if I'm on a spirit walk and I see a 22-foot reptilian, he wants to bite my head off. I mean, you don't know what lies ahead. And one thing that I feel real strong about, in order for people to prepare for that, I mean, truth is stranger than fiction. And there's a lot of truths out there about things that we were misled about. Major entities, I mean, all kinds of stuff. that if you can understand those things and accept those as truth and say, wow, that's really messed up. Now let's get on to the next thing, like you say, put it behind you, and let's start working on ourselves. Let's start working on each other or with each other.
That's it. And it's by example we learn best.
Yeah.
Or we teach best.
Yeah. And that goes back to what you said. What can we do? We can be that. We can be that. We can own that. We can claim our soul. We can, we can empower ourselves. And that can be something that helps you in any aspect of your life, mental, a physical issue, whatever it is.
That is true. See, I'm a great one for saying everything is changing, and that means you too.
Yeah.
Don't stay stuck. If something is put in front of you and it doesn't feel right, well then, change it.
Yeah.
Don't stay there. Don't sit there unhappy. Don't waste your life being unhappy.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this too, Todd. Life is absolutely amazing. I love being here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people struggling with that one.
That's true.
Yeah. No, I ran into a song about 6 weeks ago by The Roots, and it's a beautiful song. I adopted it as a SoulogyOneStudio song. And the first lines are, everything's changing, and I want to change too. And it goes into the whole thing. It's somewhat of a metaphysical message. It's a good song. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. We want to hold on to what we have, whatever the possession is, it's possessing you. And,
even if it's uncomfortable, people don't want to change.
Well, yeah, they want to hold on to it. And if that change is coming, like change is coming, they want to fight it. They want to fight it. Change is a lot of things. Change is changing your political stripes. Change is changing your belief system in the sense that the truth was stranger than fiction. And I won't give any examples because I don't want to beat up on anybody. But, that we've been lied to. We've got things I could speak about and not beat up on people, like the secret space program or UFOs. I mean, they're talking about the CIA released all these documents. Well, they really didn't. They only just put out a few. So what's going on here? So when you talk about change, getting out of your comfort zone, like we talked about before, and that is that, pain can be your very good friend, and that holy darkness the thing about the holy darkness is when you go into it, what's coming after it, the light.
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to. You know it because you get to that point where you just can't take it anymore. And whether, this may sound kind of heavy, but whether it's an illness or, an illness. When it gets to that point where you can't take it anymore, you transmute.
Yeah.
So light does come.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting. And the other thing is, your Soulogy has grown so much in the last couple of months. It's unbelievable. You know that people need to belong. They need to be part of each other because we are connected. And that is that line, that string that connects all of us.
Yeah, that's right. And, that's the amazing thing is that it is about going into yourself and balancing that masculine and feminine, so to speak. Okay, however you want to say it.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's almost as if simultaneously something happens. When you find that in yourself and you really get in there, you start to see it immediately in the people around you. It's amazing. You start to get these connections and it's validation.
It is. And the way to see it is to observe on it in yourself, like you said. And then once that begins, you're actually, not that you're manifesting it, but you're shining light on it.
Yeah.
And then it's come to the point where you just see every being as magnificent, even those guys that we don't like.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? Because they're doing what they're doing, whether we like it or not, but they're doing it magnificently.
Somebody's got to be the bad guy. It's interesting. I stayed up a little late last night, and I should have gone to bed earlier to prepare. But I was watching. I always like to watch a little video before I go to bed.
Me too.
And I was scrolling down YouTube, and I saw this heading that said, "The greatest speech in a courtroom you ever heard." And I turned it on, and it was Saddam Hussein.
Wow.
And he gave this speech. And I'm not talking politics here. I'm talking soul.
Mm-hmm.
And every American should have listened to this speech, because there's two sides to every story, and everybody has to be a bad guy. Sometimes the bad guy is the good guy, and the good guy is the bad guy, because they're both at the same time.
That's right.
And that's basically what he was talking about. He was talking about, I've been your leader for 35 years. America came in and wrote our Constitution, and it was spy versus spy kind of stuff. So it's like, who's to say? It's still a judgment at the end of the day. Neutrality is part of this whole ascension thing.
Yes.
Walking that middle road. And I think that's what happens is, whatever it is, however it happened doesn't matter. But somehow or another, it came into the human being species. It's at the point of thought. It's in the mind. It's like a mind trick. And it's just flipping that switch, getting past that 50% mark when your soul, your spiritual mind, your higher self is calling the shots, because it just builds up momentum. Once you get over the hump or you're feeding it more than you're feeding the world, you start to empower yourself, and you start to come out of this and start to really feel this ascension, because it's real.
It is real. This apocalypse, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's happening.
And the amazing thing is it, and this is what I'd like to do with Soulogy as a platform, is to bring people in that have the information and that are expressing it and put them out there. And I think a lot of that has to, because if you look at the major media, you don't see anything about the pineal gland or the pyramids.
No.
You don't see anything about these energies coming down to the earth.
No.
And the evidence there. You don't see anything.
I know. That's part of what UCR is doing too.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. The more people that do it, the more people will do it.
It's disclosure.
Mm-hmm.
We're pulling the veil back and saying, hey, look, it's here. Don't try to deny it, because this is the reality.
That's right. In the perfect symmetry of the infinity sign, we are doing our own unveiling. we think it's the universe. Yeah.
Isn't that the truth? So you were talking about Soulogy and how the Studio One, all of this is coming together. What is the ultimate plan, Todd?
Well, everything's been spontaneous since I started it. I started when I was homeless with a flip phone for 2 years, and then I got a laptop and started doing pictures with words, and then I started doing videos. But I always had this, I don't know, I guess it's more of a higher self vibration. It's not something you can put in human words. I couldn't for a long time, and I just kept going with it. But what I'd like to do is Soulogy would be like a platform for artists, writers, anyone who's bringing information to the table, anything. If you go to the group, you'll see things like, discussions of UFOs, mm-hmm. and a lot of ascension related stuff. There's all kinds of stuff in there. But I'd like to, with the studio, we're going to go actually tomorrow night, start a radio show and do the same thing, promote people, but bring in the visual element too. Or the video element, and so music and dance, poets, writers, featuring, people like UCR, you're an author, and just featuring people and having a show about 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, and just see what happens.
That sounds great. That sounds really wonderful, actually.
Well, I hope it works.
I'm sure it will. You see, it's always the intention. When the intention is good, things work out.
Yeah.
They definitely do, and there's nothing to hide.
That's right. Yeah, it's just, and that's what's so great about, I think, again, we are, unveiling this ourselves, and I think the internet is somewhat of a fusion of what we can't see, the energy we can't see, and what we can see in the physical world, because there's a lot of power in the intention. That's where it all comes from.
That's the energy behind it, what makes it go.
That's right. And that's one thing, too. Like, I just handed over the Soulogy group to some admins in January, and all along, I never wrote anything in there. I never outlined anything. We never policed anything. And that was kind of my intention, is just let it be all based on intention. Let everybody just contribute what they want to contribute. And it's been a pretty smooth ride, really.
That's nice. It's a lovely page.
Yeah.
I like it. I really do.
Thanks.
It's all good stuff. You're a warrior, Todd.
Some people think I'm something else.
Yeah, that's opinions, right? And everybody has them.
But really, I haven't had really 5-6 negative comments. It's interesting. It really has been interesting, because you would think there'd be more. But I don't know. I just want to try to get people to think. I guess that's the way I'd explain it. And I think maybe, I don't know about other artists. I don't really consider myself an artist too much, but I just try to get people to think.
Well, that's what it's all about, how you're thinking.
Yeah.
Too many times people just take that first thought and run with it. And most times that first thought is not the right thought.
Yeah.
You could say, how do you know it's not right? Well, if it's something that has been told to me and it doesn't feel right, and it's not, earlier you said it, I don't believe I know. When you know something to be true, it's a huge difference to saying, oh, well, I believe,
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah, I believe to me is a hope. And, to me, hope is just the space between doubt and faith. And I don't know. And then the thing I think that's important, you asked earlier, what would you suggest for people? Mm-hmm. One thing I would say is that don't expect to flip a switch and everything just changes. I mean, you'll have an epiphany. We have epiphanies all the time. But what I'm saying is that everyone, you've got to take every step. Soul work or going to those truths is not all, peaches.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, it's not all peaches and cream.
No, it's not.
There's some things that have to come up, because what you said is true. That first thought. Well, what were the first thoughts that we had? They were coming out. Who knows? I mean, as a child, you've got to be you're more connected. But then the world starts telling you things, and these thoughts you buy. And so then you wake up. That's what we're doing. We're waking up to all these things that we've been told, and the histories we haven't been told, and all this stuff. And it really makes you start to examine your life.
It does. And it doesn't have to be a bad experience. It should be a beautiful experience. Once again, perspective. If you see and you begin to understand something about yourself that you're not too happy with, you should be happy that you've learned this about yourself. Right? Yeah. Because it just gives you the opportunity to change it or to open up to something new.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, we're afraid. And I know, like, when I was on the streets, that's where I was talking about earlier about darkness, because I finally realized and just could laugh about it that I'm not going anywhere. It's okay. I'm alive. Yeah. Hey, I don't have my kids, but I have kids. Yeah. I had my health and all this stuff, and you're sitting there, sleeping behind a building and just going, I feel great. It was. Yeah, the darkness is a great teacher. What we perceive as darkness is a great teacher. And like you said, there's a door, and you're on one side of the door looking at it in the human way. You open that door and you're like, oh my God, this is not. Burdens are blessings, and blessings are burdens. Yeah. It's an opportunity.
It is. It is an opportunity. And that's another thing too. When the opportunity is there, jump at it. Don't push it aside. Don't ignore it, because it just extends the 3 monkey syndrome, as we laughed about earlier. Yeah. Face it.
Yeah, it's tough though, because I get I try to answer messages I get, and over the years, the 4.5 years, there's a lot of people out there hurting, and we've all been there. You told me what you went through when you were young. We all our pain is equivalent. Our pain is proportionate to the life we've experienced. So at an individual level, our pain's all the same. It might look a little different, but deep inside, it's all the same. It's the same thing. It's the same face. So it's tough for a lot of people. But I see people all the time, and I have for 4.5 years, I have seen people all the time say, I'm turning the corner here. And I had a guy do it in the Soulogy. Well, actually, I did it on my page, and I shared it on my pages. Yesterday, a guy I've known about 6 months, he requested a song one day, and then we exchanged emails. Well, anyway, he came out yesterday, and he just posted this, and he said, you know what? His name is Chris Jelly, by the way, and he says, I just broke up with my girlfriend because I had to find some solitude. And he goes into this dissertation about how important this urge to be alone was, and to go within himself, and he talked a little bit about what's going on in the world. It was an incredible declaration of authenticity, of honesty, and I think that's what people are starting to do and connect to. They're starting to say, you know what, I'm okay, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not me. It's like I said last night in a video. It's the world that's not pure. We're pure. This is upside down. It's like we talked earlier. The 1%. If there's a 1%, we're 99%. This thing's upside down. We have the power.
We do. And we're all responsible for the world the way it is now.
That's right.
So if we accept the change, we become the change, and the world becomes the change. And, nothing's ever going to be perfect. That's not the way it works. But it can be really good.
I think we're moving to more perfection every day. And something's going on. I mean, people, there's too many, it's out there. There's something going on, called an apocalypse and unveiling, but there is something that's far greater than just what we've experienced on this earth, just the climate of the earth. I mean, this is not just something that is isolated to us and this earth. This is a solar system wide. Who knows how wide this goes? This is all the sacred geometry and the cosmos. And, this is an incredible time to be living. This is an honorable time to be living for a soul. I mean, I think the universe is looking down on us and just full of pride, to be honest with you, because we bought this ticket. We came here, and that took a lot of guts. And I think that's one thing people need to be aware of is they need to, pat themselves on the back and say, you are a vital soul. You are absolutely part of this universe. The universe is not complete without you, just like you're not complete without the universe, period.
Yeah. I just looked at the time, Todd. We're like way past.
Oh, are we?
Where we should live. Yeah.
I guess you'll have to do some editing.
No, I'll leave it in. The last question. Not that I've really been asking you questions. This has been nice because it's more of a chat.
Yeah, it was nice.
Universal connection. What does that mean to you?
Exactly what it says. I mean, you know, that's really a great name. You know, whether you're talking about, you know, what you guys have going, or just those two words. But that's really the thing. Like I was saying earlier, you know, everyone. I mean, all the sacred texts, everything's always about going within, and that's very, very true. But there's something that happens at that point, and that universal connection becomes visible, and you start to gravitate to people of a like vibration, and then that circle just starts to grow. It just starts to grow. I mean, that's what it's all about. That's a great name. That's better than Soulogy.
No, it's not. It's just another label.
That's a great, but I think it's a great name.
Because the intention behind Soulogy and the intention behind universal connection is the same.
That's right. That's the universal connection.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
You can't say that's the Soulogy. That's the universal. Well, I guess you could. That's Soulogy. Yeah, universal connection. That's true.
It is. It's.
I've always said it. You know, my whole life I looked for a place where everybody was under the same roof, and that's universal connection. Soulogy. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were doing your thing over there, while I was doing my thing over here, and it means the same thing. The intention is the exact same.
That's right.
That's a beautiful thing.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show.
It's been wonderful, Todd, and hopefully you'll come back and we'll discuss some more stuff. It's awesome. Thank you so much for being with us, Todd.
All right. I appreciate it.
And we'll talk with you soon.
Okay, take care.
You too.
Thank you for sharing the universal connection frequency.